The galactic crisis unfolds. The vast expanse of space had never seemed so oppressive to Zar'kai, the supreme counselor of the Aetherian collective. From the towering spires of the capital citadel on Etheria Prime, he gazed out at the glittering tapestry of stars, each point of light a reminder of the worlds under his stewardship. But today, those stars seemed to mock him, their cold light offering no comfort in the face of impending doom. Zar'kai's six-fingered hand trembled as he adjusted the ceremonial sash draped across his iridescent exoskeleton. The weight of an entire civilization's fate rested upon his shoulders, and for the first time in his long life, he felt utterly powerless. "Supreme Counselor," a voice chirped from behind him. "The emergency session is about to begin." Zar'kai turned to face his aide, a young Aetherian named Kylorin. The fear in Kylorin's multifaceted eyes mirrored his own, though the aide did an admirable job of maintaining a professional demeanor. "Very well," Zar'kai replied, his voice a low, melodious hum. "Let us face our destiny, whatever it may be." The council chamber was a cacophony of worried voices and flashing bioluminescent patterns as Zar'kai entered. The circular room, usually a place of measured debate and careful diplomacy, now crackled with tension and barely contained panic. Representatives from all corners of the Aetherian collective had gathered, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life that had flourished under their peaceful rule. As Zar'kai took his place at the center podium, a hush fell over the assembly. He cleared his throat, the sound resonating through the chamber's perfect acoustics. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his hearts. "We face a threat unlike any our people have encountered in our 10,000 years of recorded history. The Void Plague continues to spread unchecked through our outer colonies, consuming all in its path." Holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, showing real-time footage of the devastation. Entire planets were engulfed in roiling clouds of inky darkness, the very fabric of reality seeming to unravel wherever the Void Plague touched. Gasps and cries of dismay echoed through the council as they witnessed their worst fears confirmed. "Our finest minds have worked tirelessly to find a solution," Zar'kai continued, "but the plague defies all known laws of physics and biology. It adapts to every countermeasure, grows stronger with each world it consumes. At the current rate of expansion, it will reach Etheria Prime within one standard solar cycle. The implications hung heavy in the air. 1 year. They had 1 year before their homeworld, the cradle of their civilization, would be swallowed by the insatiable hunger of the Void Plague. Savira, the grizzled head of the Aetherian Defense Force, rose from her seat. Her carapace, scarred from countless battles, gleamed dully in the chamber's light. "Supreme Counselor, with all due respect, we cannot simply wait for death to come to us. We must take action, even if it means..." She hesitated, her mandibles clicking nervously. "Even if it means seeking help beyond our borders." A wriggle of shock passed through the assembly. The Aetherian collective had long prided itself on its self-sufficiency, its technological and cultural superiority. The idea of turning to other races for aid was almost unthinkable. "And who would you have us turn to, Savira?" challenged Mordek, the Minister of Science and Technology. "The warmongering Zar'kai, the isolationist Kulari. None in our sector have the means to combat this threat." Zar'kai raised a hand, silencing the brewing argument. "There is one possibility we have not yet considered." He paused, knowing his next words would change the course of Aetherian history forever. "There are stories, ancient legends passed down through the ages, of a species from beyond the Great Void. A race of beings known for their resourcefulness, their adaptability, their sheer determination in the face of impossible odds." The chamber fell silent, every eye and sensory organ fixed on Zar'kai. "They call themselves humans." The word hung in the air, alien and full of possibility. Whispers began to spread through the assembly, a mix of hope and skepticism. "Humans," Mordek scoffed. "Surely you jest, Supreme Counselor. They are nothing but a myth, a tale told to young larvae to inspire them to greatness. Zar'kai shook his head. No, my friend, they are very real. Our long-range scouts have observed them from afar for centuries. A young race, yes, but one with potential unlike any we have seen. They have overcome challenges that would have broken other species, adapted to environments we thought uninhabitable. And most importantly, they possess a quality that we, in our long ages of peace and prosperity, have perhaps forgotten. And what quality is that? Kavira asked, leaning forward with interest. The ability to face the unknown without fear, Zar'kai replied. To see impossibility not as a barrier, but as a challenge to be overcome. It is a trait that has served them well in their rapid advancement, and one that may be our only hope against the void plague. The council chamber erupted into debate. Some voices cried out in support of the idea, desperate for any chance at survival. Others protested vehemently, unwilling to place their fate in the hands of an untested, possibly primitive species. As the arguments raged around him, Zar'kai activated a small device on his wrist. A holographic star map sprang to life before him, zooming in on a small, unremarkable solar system on the edge of the galaxy. There, further from its yellow sun, spun a blue-green world teeming with life. Earth. Zar'kai gazed at the planet, hope and trepidation warring within him. Would these humans answer their call? And if they did, could they truly be the saviors the Etherian collective so desperately needed? With a sense of finality, Zar'kai raised his voice above the din. The decision is made. We will send a distress call to Earth. May the cosmic harmony guide us all. As the council continued to argue, a single quantum-entangled signal shot out from Atheria Prime, racing across the vast gulfs of space. It carried with it the hopes and fears of an entire civilization, seeking aid from a species that had yet to take its first steps into the galactic community. The message was simple, encoded in mathematical constants that any sufficiently advanced civilization would understand. To the inhabitants of Earth, we are the Etherian collective. Our civilization faces extinction. We humbly request your aid. You are our last hope. The signal sped on, crossing light years in an instant. As it approached the Sol system, it prepared to make first contact with a species that would soon find itself thrust onto the galactic stage, ready or not. On Earth, in the depths of a secret facility, a computer began to beep. Humanity's bold response. The rhythmic beeping of the quantum receiver echoed through the cavernous underground chamber of the Global Space Agency, GSA, headquarters. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead xenolinguist and first contact specialist, jolted awake at her desk, a cold cup of coffee spilling across stacks of star charts and alien language hypotheses. This better not be another false alarm, she muttered, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. But as she focused on the incoming data stream, her heart began to race. This was no drill, no glitch in the system. This was real. Oh my God, she breathed, fingers flying across her holographic keyboard. Alice C., initiate first contact protocols, and get me the director, now. The AI assistant's calm voice filled the room. Certainly, Dr. Chen, initiating first contact protocols, contacting Director Hawthorne. Within minutes, the chamber was a flurry of activity. Scientists and military personnel poured in, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. At the center of it all stood Director Jonathan Hawthorne, his silver hair disheveled, eyes sharp despite the late hour. Talk to me, Sound, he said, scanning the screens of incoming data. What are we dealing with? Samantha took a deep breath, trying to keep her voice steady. It's a distress call, sir, from a civilization calling themselves the Etherian Collective. They're facing some kind of extinction-level threat, and they're asking for our help. A heavy silence fell over the room. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, in one moment, they had confirmation of intelligent alien life and an immediate crisis to face. Hawthorne's brow furrowed. Why us? Surely there are other, more advanced civilizations out there. "That's just it, sir," Samantha replied, her voice tinged with awe. "According to the message, we're their last hope. Something about our unique qualities as a species." The director ran a hand through his hair, the weight of the situation settling on his shoulders. "All right, people, we've prepared for this moment. Let's not let Earth down. Sam, I want you working on deciphering any cultural or linguistic nuances in that message. Colonel Reyes, prep our first contact team. Dr. Okafor, I need your best xenobiology assessments yesterday." As the team sprang into action, Hawthorne turned to his AI assistant. "Alice C., get me a secure line to the UN Security Council. It's going to be a long night." The next 48 hours were a whirlwind of global debates, emergency sessions, and frantic preparations. The news of alien contact had leaked, sending waves of excitement, fear, and conspiracy theories across the globe. But in the end, the decision was unanimous. Earth would answer the call. The GSO's newest and most advanced starship, the HSS Odyssey, was quickly retrofitted for the mission. Its experimental quantum drive, previously untested on long-range flights, would be their only hope of reaching the Etherian Collective in time. As dawn broke on launch day, the chosen crew assembled on the launch pad. They were a diverse group, each selected for their unique skills and adaptability. Captain Maya Rodriguez, a decorated naval officer with nerves of steel and unparalleled tactical acumen. Dr. Samantha Chen, xenolinguist extraordinaire, tasked with bridging the communication gap. Dr. Kwesi Okafor, brilliant xenobiologist, eager to unravel the mysteries of alien life. Engineer Zhen Liu, tech genius with a knack for improvising solutions under pressure. Security Chief Aisha Kazemi, ex-Special Forces, responsible for the crew's safety in unknown territory. Diplomat Thomas Nkosi, charismatic negotiator, charged with navigating the delicate waters of interspecies politics. Captain Rodriguez stood before her crew, her dark eyes scanning their faces. "I won't sugarcoat it," she began, her voice carrying across the launch pad. "We're heading into the unknown, facing threats we can't even imagine. But that's what humanity does best. We adapt, we overcome, and we never, ever give up." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Each of you was chosen not just for your skills, but for your heart, your determination, your ability to think outside the box. We carry with us the hopes of not one, but two civilizations. Failure is not an option." The crew nodded solemnly, the gravity of their mission evident in their expressions. Now, Maya continued, a hint of a smile playing at her lips. "Let's go make first contact, save an alien race, and show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Odyssey crew, to your stations." As they boarded the sleek, silver starship, Engineer Liu couldn't help but whistle in appreciation. "She's a beauty, isn't she? Quantum drive, adaptive shielding, and enough processing power to simulate entire ecosystems. If anything can get us there in one piece, it's the Odyssey." Dr. Okafor nodded, his eyes wide with excitement. "And just think of the scientific discoveries we'll make. Alien biology, new elements, possibly even the key to manipulating the fabric of space-time itself." "Let's focus on making it there alive first," Security Chief Kazemi interjected, her hand resting instinctively on her sidearm. "We have no idea what kind of welcome we'll receive." As the crew strapped in, the ship's AI came to life. "Good morning, Odyssey crew. I am ARIA, your adaptive responsive intelligence assistant. All systems are nominal. Quantum drive is primed and ready for our jump to the Etherian system." Captain Rodriguez settled into the command chair, her posture relaxed but alert. "Thank you, ARIA. Initiate launch sequence." The ship hummed to life, its advanced engines glowing with barely contained power. On the ground, Mission Control held its collective breath. "Odyssey, you are clear for launch," Director Hawthorne's voice crackled over the comms. "Godspeed and good luck. The hopes of humanity go with you." With a roar that shook the very earth, the HS Odyssey lifted off, quickly becoming a bright star against the morning sky. As it reached the edge of Earth's atmosphere, the quantum drive engaged. For a moment, reality itself seemed to bend around the ship. Then, in a flash of blinding light, the Odyssey vanished, leaving behind a stunned planet and leaping into the greatest adventure in human history. As the starship hurtled through the quantum realm, Captain Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. "Well, crew," she said, her voice steady despite the incredible forces at work around them, "it looks like humanity has officially joined the galactic community. Let's make one hell of a first impression." The Odyssey streaked across the cosmos, carrying with it the indomitable spirit of humanity, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the depths of space. First contact and cultural clash. The HSS Odyssey emerged from quantum space in a burst of iridescent light, the sleek ship decelerating rapidly as it approached the Etherian home system. The crew, still adjusting to the disorientation of their first long-range quantum jump, stared in awe at the alien vista before them. Etheria Prime hung in space like a jewel, its surface a swirling tapestry of purple oceans and emerald landmasses. Surrounding it was a ring of orbital stations and satellites, a testament to the advanced nature of the Etherian civilization. Captain Rodriguez's voice cut through the stunned silence. "All right, people, let's look alive. Dr. Chen, open a channel to the Etherians. Let them know the cavalry has arrived." Samantha nodded, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Channel open, Captain, broadcasting on all frequencies." Maya cleared her throat, suddenly acutely aware that her words would be the first official communication between humanity and an alien race. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the human starship Odyssey. We've received your distress call and have come to offer our assistance." For a long moment, there was nothing but static. Then, a melodious, multi-toned voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel Odyssey, this is Zar'kai, Supreme Counselor of the Etherian Collective. Your arrival brings us great hope. You have our deepest gratitude." A flurry of activity erupted on the sensors. "Captain," Security Chief Kazemi called out, "we're being approached by what appears to be an escort fleet. No weapons signatures detected, but they're moving to surround us." "Steady, Chief," Maya replied, her voice calm. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Counselor Zar'kai, we're observing an approaching fleet. What are your intentions?" "Apologies, Captain Rodriguez," Zar'kai's voice came back, a hint of embarrassment coloring his tones. "It is merely an honor guard to escort you to our capital city. We meant no alarm." Maya nodded, though the Etherians couldn't see her. "Understood, Counselor. We'll follow your lead." As the Odyssey was guided through the complex network of orbital structures, the crew marveled at the alien architecture. Spiraling towers of crystalline materials stretched into space, while swarms of smaller craft darted between them in intricate patterns. "It's beautiful," breathed Dr. Okafor, his eyes wide as he took in the sensor readings. "Their level of bio-integration is astounding. It's as if their technology has evolved alongside them." The ship finally docked at a massive space station, its organic-looking corridors pulsing with soft bioluminescence. As the airlock cycled, Captain Rodriguez turned to her crew. "Remember your training," she said, her eyes meeting each of theirs in turn. "We're here as allies and helpers, but also as representatives of Earth. Let's show them the best of humanity." The airlock hissed open, revealing a delegation of Etherians. The aliens were a striking sight, tall, insectoid beings with iridescent exoskeletons and multiple limbs. Their large, compound eyes seemed to shimmer with intelligence and curiosity. Zar'kai stepped forward, his ornate robes flowing around him. He raised 3 of his 6 arms in what seemed to be a gesture of greeting. "Welcome, humans, to Etheria Prime. We are honored by your presence." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, mirroring the gesture as best she could with her 2 arms. "The honor is ours, Supreme Counselor. We come in peace and in friendship, ready to assist in any way we can." As the two leaders exchanged formal greetings, Dr. Chen's eyes darted back and forth, her mind working overtime to process the nuances of Etherian communication. She noticed subtle shifts in the aliens' bioluminescent patterns, suggesting a layer of nonverbal communication happening alongside the spoken words. The human crew was led into a vast chamber, its walls alive with shifting colors and patterns. A holographic display dominated the center, showing the creeping darkness of the void plague consuming world after world. Zar'kai's voice took on a grave tone. "This is the threat we face. The void plague defies all our attempts at containment or cure. It consumes not just matter, but the very fabric of space-time itself." Dr. Okafor stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding protocol for a moment. "Fascinating and terrifying. Have you identified the origin point? Any pattern to its spread?" A ripple of surprise passed through the Etherian delegation at the human's forwardness. Zar'kai's head tilted, his mandibles clicking softly. "You are direct, Dr. Okafor. In our culture, it is customary to engage in several hours of formal welcoming rituals before discussing such weighty matters." Captain Rodriguez shot Kwasi a warning look, but diplomat Thomas Nkosi smoothly intervened. "Please forgive our eagerness, Supreme Counselor. On Earth we have a saying, time is of the essence. Given the urgency of your situation, we thought it best to address the crisis immediately." Zar'kai's bioluminescent patterns shifted, a mix of confusion and admiration. "Your ways are unfamiliar to us, but perhaps that is exactly why you may succeed where we have failed. Very well, let us dispense with the usual formalities." As the briefing continued, more cultural differences became apparent. The Etherians spoke in long, flowery sentences, each point prefaced with philosophical musings. The humans, by contrast, asked direct questions and proposed immediate actions, much to the aliens' apparent discomfort. "We have considered a direct assault on the plague's leading edge," one Etherian military leader explained, "but such an aggressive approach goes against our deepest cultural beliefs in harmony and balance." Security Chief Kazemi couldn't hide her frustration. "With all due respect, sometimes you need to fight fire with fire. If this plague is as dangerous as you say, extreme measures might be necessary." The chamber fell silent, the Etherian's bioluminescence pulsing in patterns of shock and offense. Zar'kai's voice was strained as he replied, "We do not expect you to understand the complexities of our philosophy, human. Our ways have kept us in peaceful prosperity for millennia." Tension filled the air, the initial warmth of the meeting cooling rapidly. Captain Rodriguez realized they were walking a dangerous line. They needed to find a way to bridge the gap between human directness and Etherian sensibilities, or this alliance would be over before it began. She stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Supreme Counselor, esteemed Etherians, please understand that our ways may seem strange to you, just as yours do to us. But it is precisely this difference in perspective that may hold the key to solving this crisis." Maya gestured to her crew. "Each of us brings unique skills and viewpoints. Dr. Chen's linguistic expertise, Dr. Okafor's scientific insight, Engineer Liu's technical innovation, Security Chief Kazemi's strategic thinking, and Diplomat Nkosi's ability to bridge cultural divides. Together with your advanced technology and deep wisdom, I believe we can find a solution." Zar'kai was silent for a long moment, his compound eyes studying the human captain intently. Finally, he spoke, his tone thoughtful. "You speak wisely, Captain Rodriguez. Perhaps it is our very differences that the cosmic harmony has brought together in this time of need." The tension in the room eased slightly, but it was clear that navigating this cultural minefield would be an ongoing challenge. As the briefing resumed, both humans and Etherians made conscious efforts to adapt their communication styles. Yet, even as progress was made, a nagging worry gnawed at the back of Maya's mind. They had come to save a civilization, but the greatest challenge might not be the void plague itself, but finding a way for two vastly different species to work together before it was too late. As the first day of discussions drew to a close, the fate of two worlds hung in the balance, dependent on the ability of humans and Etherians to overcome their differences and unite against a common threat. Human ingenuity vs. alien technology. The following days were a whirlwind of activity as the human crew immersed themselves in Etherian technology and culture. The vast archives of the capital citadel became their second home, with each specialist diving deep into their respective fields. Engineer Jan Liu found himself in a state of perpetual awe as he studied the Etherians' quantum computers and bio-integrated systems. It's like they've turned their entire civilization into one giant, living supercomputer, he marveled to Dr. Chen during a rare break. But for all their advancement, they seemed to lack a certain adaptability. Samantha nodded, her eyes never leaving the linguistic patterns scrolling across her datapad. I've noticed that too. Their language is incredibly complex, but it's also rigid. They struggle with concepts that don't fit neatly into their established paradigms. Meanwhile, Dr. Okafor had sequestered himself in the Etherians' most advanced laboratory, poring over data on the Void Plague. The more he learned, the more his initial excitement gave way to a gnawing dread. It's not just consuming matter, he explained during an emergency briefing with Captain Rodriguez and the Etherian High Council. It's unraveling the very laws of physics. Each world it devours makes it stronger, more unpredictable. Zar'lian's bioluminescence pulsed with patterns of deep distress. We have tried every solution our science can devise. Nothing stops its advance. Captain Rodriguez leaned forward, her eyes intense. Then perhaps it's time we stopped trying to stop it, and instead focused on understanding it. A ripple of confusion passed through the Etherian delegates. Understand it. One of their scientists asked, mandibles clicking in agitation. Captain, with all due respect, we've been studying the plague for months. What could your people possibly see that we have missed? Maya smiled, a glint of determination in her eye. Sometimes, fresh eyes are exactly what you need. Dr. Okafor, share your theory. Queasy cleared his throat, suddenly aware of all eyes, both human and alien, upon him. Well, we've been looking at the plague as a singular entity, but what if it's not? What if it's a swarm intelligence comprised of billions of quantum-scale particles? He tapped a few commands on his datapad, and a new simulation sprang to life in the room's holographic display. See here. The plague's behavior at the macro level mirrors swarm behaviors we've observed in certain insect species on Earth. If we're right, then we're not dealing with one unstoppable force, but countless tiny ones working in concert. The Etherian scientists buzzed with excitement and skepticism in equal measure. One of them, a being named Velora, stepped forward. An intriguing hypothesis, Dr. Okafor. But even if true, how does this help us combat the plague? That's where I come in, Jen interjected, his eyes gleaming with the light of inspiration. If the plague is a swarm, then we don't need to destroy it entirely. We just need to disrupt its communication. He began sketching rapidly on a datapad, the design taking shape before their eyes. Imagine a network of quantum beacons, each emitting a carefully calibrated frequency to interfere with the plague's swarm intelligence. We could essentially create a firewall at the quantum level. The chamber erupted into a flurry of discussion, Etherians debating rapidly in their musical language while the humans huddled together, refining the idea. Zar'lian raised several of his limbs, calling for silence. This plan, it is unlike anything we have considered. It goes against our traditional approaches to problem-solving. He paused, compound eyes glittering. And that, perhaps, is exactly what we need. You have our full support and resources, humans. Let us make this theory a reality. The next weeks were a frenzy of activity. The vast manufacturing capabilities of the Etherian collective would turn towards producing Gen's quantum beacons, while Dr. Okafor and the Etherian scientists worked tirelessly to perfect the disruptive frequencies. Captain Rodriguez found herself in the unfamiliar role of project manager, coordinating between the human specialists and their Etherian counterparts. The cultural clashes continued, human impatience butting up against Arthurian caution, Earth pragmatism versus alien idealism, but slowly, a synergy began to emerge. "It's remarkable," Diplomat and Cozy commented one evening as they watched humans and Arthurians working side by side in the main laboratory. "A month ago, these two species didn't even know the other existed. Now look at them." Maya nodded, a small smile playing at her lips. "That's humanity's greatest strength, Thomas. We adapt, we learn, we grow. And we help others do the same." As the project neared completion, a new challenge arose. The quantum beacons would need to be deployed at the very edge of the Void Plague's advance, a suicide mission by all accounts. "We cannot ask this of you," Zar'kai said, his voice heavy with emotion. "You've already done so much. This final task, it should fall to us." Captain Rodriguez shook her head firmly. "With all due respect, Counselor, this is why we came. Humanity doesn't shy away from danger, especially not when the stakes are this high. We'll deploy the beacons." The Odyssey was retrofitted with Arthurian shielding technology, its hull reinforced to withstand the extreme conditions at the plague's edge. As the ship prepared for departure, Engineer Liu made a final adjustment to the quantum beacon array. "This is it," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Either this works, or nothing else will matter," Dr. Okafor finished grimly. Captain Rodriguez surveyed her crew, noting the determination in each of their eyes. "I won't lie to you. This mission is likely one way. But what we do here today isn't just for the Arthurians. It's for Earth, for every sentient being in this galaxy. Whatever happens, I'm proud to serve with each of you." As the Odyssey lifted off from Arthuria Prime, cheers and bioluminescent displays of support filled the sky. Zar'kai's voice crackled over the comm. "May the cosmic harmony guide you, brave humans. Our hopes go with you." The ship accelerated towards the ominous dark cloud that marked the Void Plague's advance. On the bridge, Captain Rodriguez gripped her chair tightly. "All hands, brace for contact. Deploy beacons on my mark." The darkness loomed before them, an impossibly black maw threatening to swallow them whole. Maya took a deep breath, her voice steady as she gave the command that would decide the fate of two civilizations. "Mark, the ultimate test." The Odyssey plunged into the inky blackness of the Void Plague, its enhanced shields flickering violently against the onslaught of reality-warping energy. Inside, the crew fought against nausea and disorientation as the laws of physics seemed to twist and bend around them. Shields at 80% and dropping. Security Chief Kazemi shouted over the din of groaning metal and blaring alarms. "Whatever this thing is, it's adapting to our defenses." Captain Rodriguez gritted her teeth, her knuckles white as she gripped the arms of her command chair. "Stay the course. Jen, status on the quantum beacons." Engineer Liu's voice came back strained but determined. "First wave deploying now, Captain. But there's a problem. The plague is interfering with our targeting systems. We'll have to launch the rest manually." "Manually?" Dr. Chen exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief. That would mean someone has to go out there." Maya finished grimly. The gravity of the situation hung heavy in the air. Going outside the ship in the heart of the Void Plague was almost certainly a death sentence. Before anyone could volunteer, Dr. Okafor stood up, his face set with determination. "I'll do it. I'm the one who proposed this theory. I should be the one to see it through." "Not alone, you won't," Jen interjected, already moving towards the airlock. "You'll need an engineer out there to ensure proper beacon placement." Captain Rodriguez wanted to protest, to find another way, but she knew there was no other choice. Every second they delayed, the plague grew stronger, and their chances of success dimmed. "All right," she said, her voice heavy. "But you'll be tethered to the ship, and at the first sign of trouble, you come back in. That's an order." As Kwesi and Jen donned their specially modified spacesuits, the rest of the crew worked feverishly to keep the ship intact. Dr. Chen frantically analyzed the plague's ever-changing patterns, feeding data to Diplomat and Kosi, who coordinated with the Etherian scientists back on their homeworld. The airlock hissed open, and Queasy and Jen stepped out into chaos. The void around them writhed and pulsed, tendrils of dark energy lashing out at their suits. Each movement was a struggle against forces that defied comprehension. "By all that's holy," Quasi breathed, his voice filled with awe and terror in equal measure. "It's beautiful, in a terrifying, universe-ending sort of way." Jen's reply was terse, focused. "Less admiring, more beacon planting, Doctor. My suit's integrity is already down to 60%. Together, they worked with frantic precision, placing each quantum beacon in a carefully calculated pattern around the ship. As each device activated, a small bubble of normalcy appeared in the chaotic void, like islands of sanity in a sea of madness. Back on the bridge, Maya watched their life signs with growing concern. "Their vital signs are fluctuating wildly," she reported. "Whatever that thing is doing, their suits can't keep it out much longer." Just as Quasi and Jen placed the final beacon, a massive tendril of void energy lashed out, striking Jen squarely in the chest. The engineer's scream cut through the comm channel, chilling everyone to the bone. "Zen!" Queasy shouted, reaching for his companion, but the movement sent him spinning away from the ship, his tether snapping under the strain. "I'm losing them," Kazemi yelled, her fingers flying over the controls. "The plague is interfering with our tractor beams." Captain Rodriguez made a split-second decision. "LOIA, transfer helm control to my station. Everyone, brace for emergency maneuvers." With a skill born of years of experience and a healthy dose of desperation, Maya piloted the Odyssey into a series of wild spins and dives. Key forces pressed the crew into their seats as the ship danced through the void, scooping up first Jen, then Quasi in its wake. As the airlock slammed shut behind the rescued crew members, Maya's voice rang out, "Activate the beacon network, now." Dr. Chen slammed her palm down on the activation switch. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly at first, but with gathering speed, waves of quantum energy began to pulse outward from each beacon. Where the waves intersected, the chaotic void seemed to hesitate, its frenzied movement slowing. The effect spread, fractal patterns of order blossoming in the darkness. "It's working," Dr. Okafor shouted as he stumbled onto the bridge, his face pale but triumphant. "The swarm is losing cohesion." On the main view screen, they watched in awe as the void plague began to unravel. What was once a single, unstoppable force broke apart into billions of individual particles, each now harmless on its own. But their victory celebration was short-lived. Warning klaxons blared as Aoya's calm voice announced, "Warning. Quantum drive critically damaged. Conventional engines offline. Life support systems failing." The realization hit them all at once. They had saved the Etherians, perhaps the entire galaxy, but at the cost of that only way home. Captain Rodriguez looked around at her crew, saw the mix of pride and fear in their eyes. They had known this might be a one-way trip, but facing that reality was something else entirely. "Open a channel to Etheria Prime," she ordered, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "They need to know we succeeded." As Samantha worked to establish communication through the quantum chaos, Maya addressed her crew one last time. "Whatever happens next, I want you all to know that it has been the highest honor of my life to serve with you. We came here to save a civilization, and we did exactly that. Earth will know of your bravery, your sacrifice." Tears glistened in more than one eye as the crew looked to their captain, the woman who had led them into the impossible and brought them out the other side. Just then, Samantha's console lit up. "Captain, I'm receiving a transmission, but it's not from the Etherians." Confusion rippled through the bridge as a new voice, unmistakably human, crackled through the speakers. "ASAS Odyssey, this is the UES Prometheus. Looks like you could use a lift." A new galactic order. The bridge of the Odyssey erupted in a mixture of shocked gasps and relieved laughter. Captain Rodriguez leaned forward, her voice tight with disbelief. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Odyssey. Prometheus, your timing is impeccable. But how?" A chuckle came through the comm. "Let's just say Earth's been busy while you've been off saving the galaxy, Maya. We'll explain everything once we get you folks home. Initiating rescue protocols now." As the sleek form of the UES Prometheus emerged from the dissipating remnants of the Void Plague, the Odyssey crew watched in awe. The new ship was clearly of Earth origin, but its design incorporated unmistakable elements of advanced alien technology. Within hours, the Odyssey was safely docked within the Prometheus's massive hangar bay. As Maya and her crew stepped onto the deck of humanity's newest flagship, they were greeted by a familiar face. "Director Hawthorne," Samantha exclaimed, her eyes wide with surprise. The silver-haired man smiled warmly. "Welcome back, Odyssey crew. You've been away for quite some time. There's much to discuss." In the Prometheus' briefing room, Hawthorne explained the situation. "Shortly after you left, we received more transmissions, not just from the Etherians, but from a dozen other species across the galaxy. Earth suddenly found itself thrust onto the galactic stage." He gestured to the star map dominating one wall, now dotted with markers representing various alien civilizations. "We've spent the last few months in a whirlwind of diplomatic negotiations, technological exchanges, and rapid advancements. The Prometheus is the first fruit of those collaborations." Captain Rodriguez leaned back, trying to process it all. "So while we were out there thinking we were humanity's first and only connection to alien life, you were our pioneers," Hawthorne finished. "Your mission, your bravery opened the doors. The galaxy took notice of humanity, and we've risen to the challenge." As the Prometheus set course for Etheria Prime, the Odyssey crew marveled at the changes. Earth had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and nothing would ever be the same. Their arrival on Etheria Prime was met with jubilation. The skies above the capital citadel were filled with swirling patterns of bioluminescence, a galaxy-wide celebration of the Void Plague's defeat. In the Grand Assembly Chamber, Supreme Councillor Zar'kai addressed the gathered representatives of a dozen species, his melodious voice filled with emotion. "Today, we stand at the dawn of a new era. The threat that once loomed over us all has been vanquished, thanks to the courage and ingenuity of our human allies." His compound eyes found Captain Rodriguez and her crew. "You came to us as strangers, became our saviors, and now stand as our friends." Maya stepped forward, humbled by the alien leader's words. "We thank you for your trust in us, Supreme Councillor, but this victory belongs to all of us. It was the combination of Etherian wisdom, human determination, and the united will of the galaxy that truly defeated the Void Plague." Zar'kai's bioluminescence pulsed in agreement. "Indeed, and it is in that spirit of cooperation that we must move forward. The galaxy is vast, filled with wonders and dangers beyond our individual comprehension. But together, we are stronger." Director Hawthorne joined them on the platform. "In light of recent events, Earth proposes the formation of a Galactic Council, a forum where all our species can come together, share knowledge, and face any future threats as one united front." The chamber filled with approving murmurs and the equivalent of alien applause. Species that had once been isolated, focused only on their own concerns, now saw the value in unity. As the formalities concluded and the real work of building this new galactic order began, Captain Rodriguez found a quiet moment with her crew. "I can't help but think," she mused, looking out at the alien sky. "When we left Earth, we thought we were embarking on humanity's greatest adventure. But really, we were just setting the stage. The true adventure, for all of us, is just beginning." Dr. Okafor nodded, his eyes alight with the possibilities. "Think of the scientific advancements we'll see, the exchange of knowledge across cultures. And the challenges we'll face," added Security Chief Kazemi, ever pragmatic. "New allies often mean new enemies too." Diplomat Nkosi smiled. "That's where we come in. building bridges, fostering understanding. It won't always be easy, but it'll be worth it. Engineer Liu, still bearing the scars of his encounter with the Void Plague, grinned. Just think, a few months ago, our biggest dream was faster-than-light travel. Now we're helping to shape the future of the entire galaxy. Dr. Chen, who had been quiet, finally spoke up. You know what amazes me most? How quickly we adapted. Humans, Aetherians, all the species we've met. We're more alike than we are different. We all want to explore, to understand, to grow. Captain Rodriguez looked at each member of her crew, feeling a surge of pride. Whatever comes next, I can't think of a better team to face it with. We took a leap into the unknown, and we've landed in a new age of galactic cooperation. As they turned back to rejoin the interstellar delegation, Maya couldn't help but smile. Humanity had answered the call, faced impossible odds, and emerged not just victorious, but as a catalyst for change on a cosmic scale. The stars above Aetheria Prime twinkled, bearing witness to the birth of a new era. An era of exploration, of unity, of challenges and triumphs yet to come. An era where the spirit of humanity would join with the best qualities of 1,000 alien races, reaching ever outward to the endless frontier of space. And somewhere out there, new adventures awaited, for the crew of the Odyssey, for humanity, and for all the sentient beings of the galaxy, now united in their quest for knowledge, understanding, and a brighter future among the stars.